Hello, welcome back to Affirmations. For those of you that are new, I want you to like, share, and subscribe. I want to thank my subscribers and any new subscribers that I have. Um, so today, again, I'm kind of doing something a little bit different to where I've already kind of pre-pulled the cards and what we're going to talk about. Um, some of the other videos have kind of shown that I'm kind of taking a little break. Hopefully, you all can hear the water in the background, beautiful palm trees. Yeah. Again, important to reset and take time out to kind of recuperate and rest. But the cards that we got today, oh yeah, also too, for those of you that are new, we do heal the topic of healing slave trauma and generational trauma. Um, and also too, we always start off with our statement, death and life is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Have you been feeding yourself fresh or rotten fruit? Always one to mind the self-talk that you do with yourself, as well as what you speak about others. Again, it is okay to vent. We want to make sure that we are not being malicious or lying on others, because sometimes they can activate. You will end up sowing what you reap, okay? Or I always get that flipped around. You will end up reaping what you sow. Come on. Let's see. So we're always looking at things from the perspective of our people, right? And how can we heal? And we kind of got three cards that kind of popped out. It talks about emotions, and we've talked about this quite a bit. Emotions provide us, and again, in one also to this deck that I'm reading from is something called the DBT deck, Dialectical Behavioral Therapy. It's a type of therapy that's used for people dealing with complex trauma. And again, we are people that definitely have suffered from that, okay? So this is the card, and it's also in the description box, okay? That's a deck. It talks about emotions provide us with important information about what is happening in us, in our relationships, and in our situations around us, right? I've talked about how emotions is kind of like your alarm system, right? Our emotions help us to be more effective in our relationships and with our behaviors when we are willing to listen to their messages, right? It says, of course, these messages are more clear when our emotions are regulated, meaning when we're calmer, when we can step away. That's why alone time is very important. If our emotions are too dysregulated, then the messages are too loud or distorted, and therefore they're not helpful. We become overwhelmed, and sometimes, if you notice, you'll shut down. You can't think straight. As you regulate your emotions, practice accepting and listening to them, and do this with time alone, right? When you're calm, right? That's why journaling is a good idea. Okay, so I'm still encouraging us to do that. The other card we got is something called negotiate. It says negotiate and compromise if situations call for it. Dialectically, sometimes we must give to get or accept middle ground options. Make negotiations and compromises from a wise mind and work these techniques into your daily routine. Okay? So, negotiations, right? And we want to make sure that we're negotiating and being fair, because sometimes people are great negotiators. One of the things that happened to our people is we always talk about the master slave dynamic. If you are a person that is an abuser, you know how to negotiate from a manipulative standpoint where it's not fair. And if you're a person that's been stuck in kind of a slave kind of mentality, you do not know how to negotiate, right? You end up giving too much. You end up getting the short end of the stick. So we want to make sure that we are negotiating from a place of balance and fairness. Okay. Okay. So that's something to think about. Let's see. The other card that we got, talking about problems, and I think we've gotten this card before. It says it's easy to be preoccupied with our problems. We talk about this often. It says make a giant list of problems that you don't have in order to help yourself realize that whatever you're dealing with is not as bad. One of the things I always talk about is we always want to think about when we feel too overwhelmed, think about the burden that our ancestors had, where they had what we would call the toughest shift, the toughest work shift, right? There are different types of shifts that we work, right? Early shift, late shift, normal shift, but they had the toughest, and so if they were able to survive that, are we? But also too, let's say if you have a situation, one way you can do this, even if it's a problem, write it down, and then again, the assignment is look at how could it even be worse, and that way it helps you to kind of be able to acknowledge that you are able to kind of tackle the problem at hand. Okay, so that's just kind of a quick thing that I want to give you all. Okay, I'm hoping everyone is doing well. I want you all to be looking at the description box that has information on how to contact me if you want your yearly mental health checkup, as well as information about self-harm, as well as how to find therapists. Also, if anyone's reaching out to you, know that it's not me. Okay, I will never do that. You have to reach out to me if you want to contact me. Okay. Also, too, I'm gonna check out the community tab, the post. I post videos as well as for us to look at as well. So also too, I'm going to end on our statement, right? Everyone has a right to heal from trauma in privacy, without judgment and without interference, even a race nation. And until next time, bye. Let me show you all quickly the view as we are on our way out, okay? Let's see.